So I'm sure that you can see the screen. The uh, the the CIMA syllabus work, this whole syllabus revolves around the five skills. The first one is the technical skill, then the business skill, leadership skill, and people skill. And that is surrounded by the ethics, integrity, and professionalism. That is the code of ethics that the CIMA and all the other, by the way, professional qualifications, they comply with the code of ethics in order to ensure that the business is you are performing your task in the business in an ethical and a professional manner. Digital skills are at the center of all these four skills, as we know that because of the emergence of the digital technologies, the business models are changing, and those digital technologies are affecting all of the functions. So what is the idea of learning all these skills? Because while we would be working at professional level, we would be performing the functions where we need to have the knowledge of these topics. So we know that it doesn't matter that in which function or in which role you are working in your organization, uh, you now need to learn the digital skills. There was a time when there was a one department, IT department, and just that it was a perception that they are responsible for the technology related thing, information technology related thing. That's why even the terminology or the connotation that is used to explain that skill has also been changed. So it is now called the digital skills. So all of us need to have the idea, the knowledge of digital skills. We should know that how the digital technologies are affecting the various functions that we are performing, or the other colleagues in the organization performing, and how it is having an impact on our business. So at the heart of these all four knowledge areas is the digital skill. So for now, as I told you that there are the three subjects. The If we talk about the technical skills, your advanced financial reporting would primarily be discussing those. The technical skill. Technical skills means that you need to have the understanding of the accounting standard. It is a management accounting, so you don't need to remember those standards. All you need to understand is that you need to have the comprehension, the conceptual understanding of the various the aspects of those financial reporting standard. Why you need to have the requirement to have the understanding of those aspects? Because when you would be making the decision at a management level, those would be having the implications or your financial reporting as well. So you should have an idea that how it would be having an impact on your financial reports, because at the end of the day, you know that all the stakeholders, they rely on the information about your company that is there in those financial reports. Then the business skills includes like you prepare the reports for the management, you would be making the presentation, you would be doing the feasibilities. Those are not under certain financial reporting standards. Those are in accordance with the requirement of the organization. If you are going for a new project, your company is considering to invest in some projects, what you will do, you would be doing the investment appraisal. On the basis of that, you would be selecting a project. Then in order to implement that project, you would be assembling a team, you would be doing the project management. So this is about those skills which you need to perform that type of the management type of the things, where as I told you that the management report, etc., would be primarily your function. And for that, we're going to see that in your advanced management accounting, we're going to learn about those things. So again, I am emphasizing advanced management accounting topics are not in accordance to the IFRS. It is in accordance with the requirement of your company. Then the people and the leadership skill, your managing performance would primarily be focusing about that. Whatever the business plan you are preparing, whatever the project you are initiating, whatever the activities in your organization you would be performing, those would be done through the human resources. And in order to get the things done from your employees, you need to have the skill to manage them. Human resource are the very important resource in your organization, and in order to um, to lead them, you need to have an understanding that what makes an effective leader and what is the difference a typical manager and a leader, right? What makes a manager an effective manager? So you need to learn the aspects, behavioral aspect of your organization and the human resources. So the idea again is that you would be managing the human resources effectively. So people skill means that you understand the behavioral, again, the aspect of your employees. You should have an understanding that there could be the conflict among the various team members or the stakeholders. So how are you going to manage it? So that area is primarily covered by the advanced financial sorry, these managing performance book that would be talking about those skills. Then, as I told you, that the digital skill is at the center of all these skills. So in the technical skills, in business skill, in people leadership skills, there would be an aspect of the digital skills, like how the digital skills are having an impact on the various other areas. For instance, the leadership skill in a virtual environment are completely different now because of the COVID. You know that the things have changed altogether. When you are physically present somewhere, meeting with the people, you could influence them with your, with your body language, with your tone of voice, and etc. etc. But you know that. Now, on the virtual meetings, you know that you need to have the different type of the skill to influence the people. So this is how the digital skills are having an impact on our business model. So all these three books, which we're gonna cover, the important topics of these three books would be revolving around these five skills, and these are the skills which you required as a manager to operate effectively in happy wells in order to respond to the various situation in your organization, to manage the resources, to perform the projects, and to see that how your decision would be having the implication on your financial reports. You need to learn these skills. So those skills have been covered under those three books. So we would be starting with the first book, which is the managing performance. Uh, this book give us an idea about the business environment, and then it would be talking about the various type of the skills that you need. So we are operating in a business environment. We are adopting a business model. Our company is operating in accordance with the business model. Now, this business ecosystem is, the business ecosystem is the business environment. You know that in the past we used to call it that we do have the various stakeholder in our business. Those stakeholders, like we used to have the linear relationship with them. We do have the suppliers, customers, we do have the competitors. We were not looking at the business, all these business stakeholders in a integrative manner. So business ecosystem is that it tells that it is not a linear relationship, it is a multi, the directional relationship. In a traditional environment, we used to consider our suppliers, that we need to have a deal with them which is beneficial for us, and we used to have an antagonistic kind of relationship with our supplier. But the business ecosystem tells that we gonna have a collaborative kind of relationship, not only with our business partner, but with our the competitors as well. And in our business environment now, we have seen that there has been a lot of other players who have emerged. For instance, these the digital technologies, digital technology companies. They have a new role. If I would be asking, like if we look at the fast food industry, these food panda, etc., was not there like a couple of years in the business environment of this fast food industry. So you could see that now that's what a strong relationship now these restaurants have with the technology companies in order to implement their business model effectively. So what is the driver of these the digital revolution that is affecting the business model? As I've given you the example of the fast food industry, that is that is because of the availability of the internet. You know that the internet has is the driving force, and that we do have the devices, internet connectivity, we do have a lot of information, data, that is the driving force. So when we talk about this business ecosystem, actually this ecosystem terminology comes from the biological sciences. It was the first initially it was used for the biological sciences, but then it was adopted by the business sciences as well. So attributes of a business ecosystem, it could be a complex ecosystem, and that uh, there could be a numerous players in your ecosystem, and it could be sometime not a very complicated the ecosystem. And then in a business ecosystem, there are the certain roles. It depends that what type of the role your organization is playing, or effective you are in that business ecosystem. In some of the business ecosystems, there is one large player which is operating and that directing all the stakeholders. For instance, like these oil Ogra in Pakistan, that is a regulatory. Although that's I'm forgetting the name of that that the group which is OPEC. That they are orchestrating the whole ecosystem of the oil and gas industry, right? So, if, in an ecosystem, the complexity would be depending on the number of the players and their role. Some industries are inherently complex, like the financial industry. So, participants and their interaction, like as I told you, that in a typical ecosystem, they're going to be the collaborative arrangement. It's not like that you would be just be uh, having a hostile relationship with your supplier or with your competitors. You're gonna have a collaborative. Sometimes that these competitors would be joining hands to maximize the efficiency of that business ecosystem. So business ecosystem actually it has always been there. The terminology is new. So it is your business environment where the various participants of your business environment are playing their role. Orchestration and mutuality, that if the orchestration I told you, it is from orchestra. If in some industries there is a major player who is driving the whole ecosystem or the whole the business environment, whereas in some of the industries there is no prominent orchestrator, and that the level of orchestration is low there. Mutuality, again, the idea that how much the interest of the various players are interdependent. Mutuality, so that their mutual interest. So the more the mutuality would be, the more that the ecosystem would be strong, and there chances that there would be more collaborative arrangement. Then in this ecosystem, the new idea is that the businesses are there to create the value for their customers. So when the different players are operating and creating the value for that whole big business ecosystem, they then capture the value. If we take again an example, that if that in a transportation business, if you travel to Europe, there is a one card. You could use it on a bus, rail, and all tram, and the cruise. So somebody is orchestrating. They are capturing the value from the customer, and then they are delivering to the various participants. Now, all those tram, buses, trains are not the one company; those are different companies. So that they are capturing the value from the customer, and then they are delivering the value to the various participants of that ecosystem. So, how the traditionally how we used to analyze the business environment, we used to do the this in a typical business environment, we used to analyze the business environment by using a certain the strategies. Those the business these strategies were actually directing that how the organization is going to place itself in that business environment. So portal generic strategies, some of the organization would be placing their themselves as the low cost leadership. The other ones would be differentiating, making their position as a differentiated product or service in the organization. Then the cost focus, like you are concentrating on a small part of the market, small segment of the market, and offering them the product or service at a lower cost. Whereas the differentiation focused is that, like Ferrari, Lamborghini, that is the focus differentiation. You are creating a differentiation, a focused differentiation, targeting a small segment of the the market, but you are charging the higher price. You are a differentiated product in a focused market. So your company happy well, we're going to learn about that when we would be doing the pre-scene. That would be for doing that, that this differentiation, because they are a premium product, they are not the low cost product. Then we used to, in order to learn the business environment, that how competitive our business environment is, that we used to use the Porter's five forces model. Now, this Porter's five forces model actually tells us that that how we can understand the competitiveness of the any business model, right? Or any business environment. So that was again a traditional way of analyzing the business environment. Again, that is linked with the ecosystem. Your business environment is your ecosystem where you various players are there interacting with each other, collaborating with each other, competing with each other at the same time. If it is hard to understand that how two companies can compete and collaborate at the same time, then you should learn that that these various cars, although they have the different brands, but they are getting their engines being manufactured from the same engine manufacturer. For the airplanes like Airbus, Boeing, they do different airplane manufacturing companies having a different that they are the different companies competing with each other, but for the engine, for the aircraft engine, they rely on the same companies. Like that reduces the cost, because if the they would be manufacturing different engines, that's going to cost them a lot. So economies of scale concept, so that helps them because they are differentiating their product on the other aspect, but on the one aspect they have joined hands for the research and development of the engines, etc. So they are collaborating yet competing with each other in different markets. So the Porter five forces model tell us the competitiveness of any business. Most of the business have the intense competition, like a travel and tourism business has an intense competition because there are the various players. So what would be actually defining the competitiveness of the business? That's depend on the threat of the new entrant. Like if a business is such that where a company can start the can join it, enter into it, a new company can enter into it, that is a more competitive business, because you will always be on the toes, and you will have to face the competition from the new entrants. So travel and tourism again is a kind of industry where, because of the digital technology, now it is easy to start the business. You can make your portal, you can get the services hired from the third party, and you can start your business. So traditionally it was difficult when that you need to have a lot of offices, and you need to own the resources in order to enter into that market. But nowadays, because of the digital disruptions and the digital technologies, you can enter into that market easily. Then it depends, like the industry barriers, how many barriers are, if you need to have the license to enter into that market, and etc etc. Capital requirements are more, that makes entry hard. So but in travel and tourism, entry is not really that hard, because the business can be started by taking the services from the third party. Bargaining power of the buyers, your customers, like in your industry, the bargaining power of the customer, if we say that as an individual customer, that's not high. So that if you are offering a premium product, you could charge the price, but then obviously it is not the only factor. You will have to see the competition as well. But generally speaking, you don't have the large buyers. So traditionally, if a large you do have a few large buyers, so they have the power, the bargaining power, because your business depends on their demand. So if you would not be listening to them, their demand, they might reduce, they might change your their business from your company to another company. But in if you do have a large number of the buyers customers, then it's not they don't have the high power. Then the threat of substitute, like if your product service can be substituted with some other product, then similarly bargaining power of the supplier, if you do have a large number of suppliers, then they would won't be having the power. Rivalry among existing competitors, in many of the business nowadays, the rivalry is intense. So number of competitors would be defining the rivalry. Diversity of competitors, like what type of the product. If all of them are offering the same type of the product, then they would not be uh, there would be there would not be that the intense competition. But the companies now differentiate their product by introducing the little more or the different attributes in their product. So that would be defining the competitiveness of a business. Like if these factor would tell that what is the profit margin from that business. Now we are using the terminology business model now in a business and the ecosystem. Now, in an ecosystem, whatever your business model is, that you are not operating alone. As I told you, that there are the various participants, and all those participants are operating together in order to create the value for the various stakeholders. So it is not like that we are creating the value for the customer. No, we are creating the value for the all the stakeholders, including the investors, society, government, all the the stakeholders who could get influenced by our business. So in order to create the value in your business model, first of all, what you need to do is that you need to identify the stakeholder for whom you are creating the value. Then you would be prioritizing that which of your stakeholders are more important than the others. That's important aspect. And then you would be identifying the needs of the each of the stakeholder. Your investor wants the maximum profit, society wants you to dispose of the corporate social responsibilities, the customer want a good service at a lower price. So that there, it is not like that all of stakeholders have the priorities which are getting along with each other. Some of the priorities of the customer would be in conflict to the priorities of the other customers, right? So the stakeholders, sorry, not customer, stakeholders. So you need to create a balance. So this is the first step. You know that who are your customer and happy well, who are your stakeholder, and you would be defining that what is important for them, what is that what they give value to. Exactly, I would be saying, because we are talking about the value creation, what they give value to, what the customer gives value to, what the investor gives value to, what the society gives value to. So then that in order to, after knowing that for the customer uh, and the other stakeholders, that what is value for them, you will create them that value. So in order to create the value, you would not be creating alone. You need to have the suppliers and all those various, the platforms, selling platforms. Like, for instance, that in your company, you would be selling your packages, holiday package. You are a tourism company, so you through your own online platform, you would be selling it through the platform of the other companies as well, like this Booking.com, Agoda, and Expedia, etc. These are the online booking platforms which are promoting the products of the other businesses. So partners and resources would put together. You do have the processes in your company. You do have the your own airline. You do have the hotels. Those are being run under certain processes. You are performing the various activities, finance. Aviation division, HR division, you do have the outbound handling, inbound handling of the customers, you do have the selling functions. All these are the activities, and those activities are performed through certain processes, and then key value is created for the customer, which is the output. And then once that value has been created, you have put together all the resources, processes, procedures, you have the relationship with your business partners through the agreements, etc. And then now you created the value which needs to be delivered. For that, you need to have the platform. You would be knowing that what are your customer segments and how you're going to deliver value to them. Some of the customer would be preferring to buy the packages through your physical shops, the other through the online. And then capturing the value, then that is depend on the cost model, resource model, this revenue model, and surplus model. In order to know that how you would be capturing the value, you need to have an understanding that what are the various model of capturing the value. This cost model means that we need to have an understanding that what is the cost structure of our company. That we studied about the low cost differentiation, and that we studied about the that those differentiation, focus differentiation. So that would be defining the cost model. If you are a differentiated product or a different focus differentiation, you going to have the cost structure, heavy cost structure. Your cost, a major portion would be being spent on the advertisement. In differentiation, you need to keep, that make your product differentiated. And the that in order to do that, you would be incurring the most, whereas the low cost leadership, you won't be incurring the so much cost. Then revenue model, that how you are charging the prices. Again, for a premium product, you would be charging the higher prices. For the the low cost model, you would be charging the lower process. And similarly, then sharing a surplus, that how um, the the residual value. Residual value means that the cost of the input and the price of the output. The difference is the residual value. So that is shared, like government gets the tax, investors gets the dividends, employees get the salaries. Similarly, that these sometimes the customers get the discounts. That's also like, so you are creating that value for in your business model, and that whole this value creation process is surrounded by the different markets, technology, and there are the risk and opportunity in the society. Then as we know that that these digital technologies are playing a great role in your business model, so we need to understand that how our organization can get benefit of these digital technologies like blockchain, 3D printing, now these social media platforms, and these the fintechs, cryptocurrency. There are the various the digital technologies which are having an impact on your company. So in order to adopt those digital technologies, what we can do? There are the various business models which the companies are doing. Some of the companies are uh, like building their own digital solutions. That is possible, only possible when you do have the in-house resources. You're a tourism company, you're not a technology company, so you won't be having those the type of the skills within your company. Like you don't have the IT experts or the digital the technology expert in your company, because that is not your core business. So those technology companies, sometimes the large company, even they are not the technology company, they do that, like General Electric, etc. They are building their own software. They do have their own wings, which are completely dedicated to get the digital solution for your company. Then invest means that you would be investing in some uh, other company. Like in a new startup, you start a new company as a separate company. The airlines, in airline business, they do that. In again, in a tourism business, investing in a startup, technology startup, that would not be a prudent approach. You are already you do have the investment in like hotel industry and airline industry, all of the different industries, and you are doing those things. So it is not advised to go into the investment to invest in a startup. Then the buy is the best solution for your company, because you would be buying off the shelf solution for your company, customer relationship management, ERP, etc. Incubate and partner. Again, partner can be again another proposition where you partner with another company, which is there's a technology company, especially for the sales distribution. For or if there would be some change, like where you would be going for the virtual tourism, then partner would be a great the solution. And inspirational in this business, the digital business environment, how we can succeed, we need to have the inspirational leadership, or that the top tone from the top. In organization, all the employees would understand the importance of the digital solution, because adopting the digital solutions at the digital environment is quite a difficult thing. People have the fear for it. So you need to have the inspirational leadership. Competitive edge means that innovation, we need to have the innovation, and that it should be that we should have the in our company the idea that we can only survive if we are innovative, right? We If we are you know creating the new solutions, we are adopting the new the new we are adopting the new technologies. So uh, people will have to change their mindset. It is not like that a transaction type of a thing. You accepted one solution and that's it. No, it's a continuous process. So need to have a change in the mindset. Then a visionary. We as a leaders, we need to have the vision that what would be the future. Now the technologies are changing. The traditional businesses which were not there online, they have also started online. thing. So that's like looking into the future. Then the strategic, you need to define that your organization direction. As I told you, that you might be going for buying the different solution, or you could go for a partner. So that would be under the strategic direction. And in this environment, you need to have a great team which have all these skills. So retaining your talent is an important thing. And in order to retain your talent, the traditional approaches doesn't work. What you need to do is that paying good to the employees is a one part, but empowering them, developing a culture, healthy culture in your organization, offering them a participative leadership, like this managers stop being the typical manager, would be encouraging and will retain, help you to retain their your employees in that, that in your company. Now, once we understand the business model, we understand the impact of the digital technologies and the business model. We need to understand now the human aspects, that because all of these business models are implemented by the human, through the human. So like we, the managers are the human, we would be getting it implemented to the employees, who again are the human. So leadership and management plays a very important role, that inspirational leadership and the management would help you to sail through these new business model effectively. So in a leadership style, if you look at the leadership style, there are the three types of the leadership style. Traditionally, autocratic style was there, where the manager tells, manager is a typical manager, and he tells whatever needs to be done, you need to do that. You don't have any say. You don't give your opinion. You don't. You are not allowed to give your opinion. Laissez-faire is that the manager would be telling you. A little direction, and they will give you the free hand. You do it like yourself. Uh, that they don't give you much direction. But in democratic style, it's a participative. So that the people interacting with each other, they are discussing that, getting the opinion of the each other, and then making the decision. In management, there are certain concept, management and leadership, that needs to be understand. There is a concept of power, authority, responsibility, accountability. Power is something like your ability to influence the other people, and if that ability is has been gained through a formal organizational hierarchy, or through a formal process, that becomes the authority. You do have the authority when it is legally embedded in your position, so that becomes the authority. So in order to have the power, it doesn't mean that you would be having the authority, the authority given by the organization. Sometime even you are not a superior or the boss of you, some group of the employee, but yet you can influence them. Then responsibility, accountability, responsibility, accountable, whenever you have the authority, you will have to be responsible for that, and you would be asked the answers about that, how you have utilized that authority to get the result. So with that comes the accountability. And empowerment is that in delegating, the delegation, and the empowerment is that empowerment, that you are empowering your employees by giving them the training. For instance, you are empowering them by giving them liberty to take the decision. So empowerment is very important in today's environment, because you need to uh, get the confidence of your employees, and you need to develop their capabilities. So when we say that women empowerment, it doesn't mean that we just allow them to do whatever they want to do. It means that we are going to get them a good education. We are going to get them the equal rights. That is the basically the empowerment. Then they would be self-sustained. They can sustain in the society without the support of the other person. So empowerment means that giving the confidence to the employee through the various trainings, through the on job training, by delegating the authority. So that then they would be more of a leader than the typical employee. So the delegation is that is very important. Being a manager, there are many times, there are the problems that the manager is very effective. He is so hardworking, but yet still he is unable to deliver. Reason is that he is not delegating. He is trying to do everything himself. The delegation is very important, and failure to delegate the task, that is a big challenge, a big problem for the the managers in the organization. So, when we talk about an effective manager, we need to understand that what makes a good manager an effective, what makes a manager an effective manager. So, in order to become an effective manager, you need to perform a certain type of the management role, which include planning, organizing, coordinating, commanding, controlling, self-explanatory. All these terminologies are self-explanatory. So, in order to perform these activities effectively, you need to have the effective communication, you need to have the strong leadership skill, good decision maker, technical expertise, and team building skill and good negotiation skill. Again, effective delegation doesn't mean that you just ask your employees to do the task and they will do it. You need to, there is a way to do it. You will be selecting an appropriate person to delegate. You will be defining the task clearly, making sure that it is suitable for delegation. The person to whom you are delegating the task, they should have the capability. If you are telling someone to do, as I told you, that a guy just joined you and you are asking them to perform some complex task, he won't be able to do that. So, by the way, one thing more is here that um, you could delegate the task, you could delegate the authority, but you cannot delegate the responsibility. You would be accountable for that. Then establishing the desired outcome, provide clear instruction, agreed on time, deadline, supporting, communicate during the task, and provide feedback. So now you know that if you saw a situation where your manager is failing, and the reason is the delegation, if ineffective delegation, you could guide that this is the way you should do that, in the exam situation even. So after that, we learned about the management, we learned about the business model. Now, we know that what the manager needs to do to become an effective manager, but still we need to have a certain criteria in organization which would be controlling the performance of the employees. So when we are getting the things done from the people, we need to understand that how we can control them. So in order to create a control environment in an organization, we need to have an understanding of the business, the culture of our organization. Culture could be understood from the observable artifacts. Like in a military, you will see that the people are wearing a uniform, so you could know that in your organization, even the people are wearing those badges, which tells the position of the that employee in the organization, then the values, basic underlying assumptions. These are the things I believe that you could understand. So I don't need to go into the details. So what makes a culture? Your manner, mindset, values, ritual, custom, beliefs. So it is much beyond that these visible things. The culture is embedded. And it's like an iceberg. So you could, the physical things are looking like would be a very small part of the whole idea of the culture. So culture uh, is and that a major role plays a major role in the performance management. So what is a strong culture, which is not easy to change? Then again, when we are talking about the managing the performance, we need to understand that how we would be what is the effective management performance management system. So when you are getting the things done from the employees, they need to know that at the end of the day they would be evaluated. So establishing performance standards, you will tell them what is being expected from you. That is many a times that having a poor performance management system is the reason of actually the poor performance, right? The poor performance management system is the reason of the poor performance of the employees. So that's very important that we do have a clear understanding of the performance management system in organization. In our organization, you just see that, look, that in your organization you are already following probably this pattern, communicating the standards. Your ACR is fulfilled, is ACR is filled every year. You are given the task, they will ask you for that what is your performance on the task. So you are already following that pattern in your organization, measuring the actual performance, capturing actual performance with desired performance, providing feedback, decision making. Again, controlling, that in order to have an effective performance management system, we need to create a system of recognition and reward. The performance, the employee who is performing well needs to be recognized. They should have the motivation to perform well. Then encouraging the teamwork, like this democratic style of management, collaboration, communication, that is again encourages. There are the financial factor, and then there is a great role of the non-financial factor to motivate the people. So If a good you do have a good performance management system, that's going to give you these benefits like open and transparent support. It identify all development fields, right? Then even we do have a good performance management system. Do you think that everybody would be performing in accordance with the given standards? No, there would be the deviation. So in order to, that there is a law, there is a law of stick and carrot. Carrot is there, performance, reward, motivation, encouragement. But there has to be a stick as well, because sometimes the people would not, all the employees do not have the same psyche. So for that, you do need to have a disciplinary system within your organization, that if somebody would not be performing or doing the things which are in contradiction to the laid down processes, procedures, and the rules and regulation, then there is a way to do that. Like you would be communicating the standard, informal discussion, minor offense, moderate verbal warning, written warning, suspension from the service. But for that, you would be doing the investigation, and you would be doing the inquiry, and then substantiating that, or the how that employee has not met the defined standards, and that calls for this type of the punishment. So dismissal is the most grievous the action the organization can take against any employee. So in organization, you do have that in your organization, while controlling the performance, the one aspect is that in your organization, the growth is, it is not like that you're always the growing. There would be a situation like in a COVID, the organization have to make the people redundant. They had to make the layoff sometime. In order to survive or to sustain, you will have to take the harsh decision. So being a manager, you should have the training that how you're going to take those decisions. So redundancy and retrenchment are the two concept. Redundancy refers to the, it's a tongue twister. So that's what the condition when the services of an employee are in excess of what is reasonably demanded by the actual requirement of the, you know that because of the ERPs, many of the employees become redundant. Why? Because their role is no more required. So makes them redundant. Similarly, retrenchment in that you because of the economic situation, like COVID retrenchment, the organization did that. So you have more workers, then you actually need a redundancy, retrenchment, substantial financial loss, whether actual or reasonably imminent, right? Retrenchment covered, you all know. Redundancies, again, organization implementing the ERP system, information technology, robotics, that cause the redundancy. People have the fear that because of the development in the AI, there are chances that the many of the employee would become the redundant. So when you are managing the redundancies, what is you need, you need to make it equitable and on merit. So notifying the redundant payment service, consult with the trade unions, provide information to representative or staff about planned redundancies. You need to do that, because managing growth is easier than managing such type of the task, because these are not so desirable. But being a manager, you would be doing that. Give any affected staff or termination, like for instance in your company, if you you close down your physical location, you will have to make the people redundant and happy well. So how you will do that on a merit? So as a management accountant, you will be describing it. By in your exam, there is no calculation, all descriptive. So in the understanding of these concepts would give you the guideline to structure your answer and to give the relevant answer. Then reward system, again, as I told you, stick and carrot concept. So when you are motivating the employees through the reward, there could be two types of reward: extrinsic. Intrinsic is work content, recognition, job satisfaction. Extrinsic, which are obvious, like the salary, payment, promotion, other benefits, perks, and privileges. Those are the extrinsic. That would these are um, the your performance, employees performance is depending on these variables. So if you are effectively management, these are the independent, and this is the dependent. Performance is dependent on these two independent variables. Then there is another concept of managing the performance, that's about the management by objective, that that tells that that is more effective when you do have the the company where the employees are educated and they that they are well groomed. So then in that case you can do that. So what you do is that you would be setting the corporate objective, set and align employee objective, monitor performance. You give them the free hand, you give them the objectives, you give them the training, you have hired the employees who have the capability to perform those tasks. Little that we learned about that the concept of less is fair. It's not exactly less is in less is fair. The do you leave it to the people, like they do it their own way, you don't give the guidance. But here a broad guideline is given. Employees objectives would be in aligned with the organization objective, and then you would be giving the free hand to the employees, and that on they would be performing the various tasks. Then managerial performance again, that that we used to evaluate the performance of the employees just on the one factor, that is the financial like measure, that how they have delivered. But in order to make a sustainable growth in your organization, and in order to have an effective performance controlling system in your organization, you need to define the KPIs in accordance to the areas. Now that has become so important in many startups. You must have seen that they don't focus on the um, the the financial numbers. They focus on the generally they focus on the other areas like market growth, capturing the market, number of subscriber, etc. Those are not the financial aspects. Those are the non-financial aspects. So balanced scorecard, as it's obvious from the name, it creates a balance. A scorecard is the board which shows the score. So this is a balanced scorecard which is showing the score from on all areas. Financial, customer aspect, very important, how you are treating your customer, what is the feedback of your customer. Employee learning and growth, very important, as we learned that empowering the employee. So empowering the employee, learning and growth is very important, because your employee is your capital, human resource capital. So as you know that you are taking care of your financial capital, you need to take care of your human capital as well. Internal processes, that that how that those processes have been developed. You have studied that in the business model. We have been told that how you are creating the value. There is a role of the employees, and there the processes, activities. So the internal processes would be playing a very important role, that how you are improving your internal process, like TQM improves then the throughput, that you would be looking at the there is a famous fishbone analysis which identify the causes of the problem in your processes, and you eliminate those causes to make your processes more efficient. So you would be improving on your human resources. You would be KPIs on the human resources, KPI on internal processes, KPI on customer, and sure, definitely, then all these would be contributing to the improvement in the financial performance. And as I told you, that you in organization, you would not be working alone. You are working in the teams. You are working in the departments. Sometimes the department teams are assembled in shape of departments, sometime in projects. So we need to have an understanding that when we are going to undertake a new project, we are assembling a team, what are the various aspects of the team management. So we have been told, like being a manager, we should have an idea that it is not like that the people would always be getting along well with each other. There are the chances that they would be having the conflicting interest. They would be having a conflict of interest, and in order to manage them effectively, and to understand that what would be the behavior of the team members at the various stages of the team development, you would be then effectively manage them. But like if you don't know it, you might get panic that what is happening. So if you would know that, you would be mentally prepared that this is very normal. At this stage, people would be having a conflict with each other, and we need to resolve it, right? So forming is a stage like when the team get together. As I told you that as a normal business process, the organization would be undertaking the various type of the projects, expansion project, technology implementation project, any project like that, right? So in order to do the projects, you need to have the teams. And even if you don't doing the projects in your organization, you might be heading a team which is performing certain tasks. So forming storming, when the people get together, there would be many the they conflict with each other. People would be having conflict with each other, and then that is called the storming stage. Then the norming, that once the people would get to know each other, they would settle with each other, and they'll way, that they would know that what is the idea of having that team, what they need to achieve. So then they would start to perform. When the team reaches the performing stage, it is the performing functioning at a high performance team, right? So if being a manager, you should know that there is going to be conflict and you need to manage at storming stage, right? Then adjourning a team is, if a team has been assembled for a certain task, you would adjourn it after that task has been completed. Then the challenges in setting up a team. There are challenges finding the right team members, selecting the right. Again, this could be, then you could relate it with your exam situation. If you see a situation where you need to raise a team, then if you would be having an idea that what makes a team effective team, and what are the various team development stages, and what are the challenges in setting up a team. This is the favorite, the sentence of the examiner, the challenges of blah blah blah, challenges of setting up a team, challenges of to the the implementation of this new business model, right? So select the right leader, allocate resources, motivate team, so set clear objective for team, set SOP for the jobs, like standard operating procedure, you will tell them. So, as I told you that there are the chances that there would be a conflict among the team members, and you are managing the various type of the stakeholder. It is not just limited to the team only. The various stakeholders would be having a conflict. So you need how you could effectively manage the conflict. So in order to effectively manage the conflict, you need to first of all need to know that what is the conflict. Conflict is the like when the interest of the two stakeholders are not aligned with each other or in contradiction to each other, then there is a conflict. Like because of the limited resources, you want to get those resources from the organization, other person want to get the resource from that organization, that creates a conflict. What type of a conflict is there between the staff? There is the conflict uh, could be with your superior, with your peers, with your subordinates, right? That is this type of the conflict you could have. And then what is the cause of the conflict? As I told you, that limited resources, you are different culture, different values, different background, those all called those all could become the causes of the conflict. How this conflict could be resolved? There are the various strategies which could be deployed to resolve that conflict. These are the strategies. That first of strategy is avoiding, do not satisfy your concern, or this depends on the intensity, like of the position that the other party has taken to safeguard their interest and their care for your concern. So if they are taking into account your position as well, then you would be going for like accommodating is put aside your concern to satisfy the other. So there is a limited resource, you tell them, you take that resource, we are fine, we will manage it. Now accommodated their request. Avoiding, you don't confront, you keep on, pushing to get those resources. Then competing, assert your position. You tell that I will get these resources, you are not going to get those resources. Collaborating, you tell them that that we can do it, like you could take the half, we can take the half. Compromising, you find the middle ground. Your action fully satisfy both sides. Collaborating, so that with an understanding that the next time we will do that, make a plan for the next time, and that you tell them that by taking this much, your requirement would be fulfilled, my requirement would be fulfilled. So collaborating. Then compromising is that middle ground, although your requirement is not being fulfilled. This is the difference between collaborating and compromising, but yet you compromise on the middle grounds, although your requirement is not fulfilled completely. That's then effective communication. In order to manage the stakeholders, you need to have an effective communication. What is the effective communication? You all know those in journal, that what makes a communication an effective communication. Effective listening is the first part in effective communication. You need to listen, understand the position of the other person, utilizing the feedback, regulating information flow, two-way communication, use of simple language, avoid information overload. That that I started this session and I have given you very minimal information about this whole idea. I will start to give you the information through the WhatsApp group once it's created. So gradually. So if I would give you all the information once, that would be information load, and you won't be able to know that what to do and what to leave. Reduce psychological barrier if there are any. You need to reduce it. Create an environment of trust and confidence. Then step in negotiation, that is very important. It has been tested, like many of those concepts that we have discussed has been tested. There is one of the concept that has been tested. Steps in negotiation, preparation and planning. You need to do that if you want to make your negotiations effective. Negotiation means that it could be a meeting, it could be any, like a meeting with the internal, external, with some other party, defining the ground rules, clarification, justification, and bargaining and problem solving and closure and implementation. So preparation is very important. Preparation and planning. In your exam, it is very important. In meeting, that is very important, because consider your exam as a meeting, right? So you are going to meet your boss who is going to give you some tasks. So preparation and planning is very important. And then you would be defining the ground rules, because in many times in the meeting, the people would be going left and right. They would be talking about the things which are not even the objective of that meeting. So that would be digressing the progress, and that would be diverting the focus from the actual issue. That is a major cause of the failure of the negotiation. Clarification, justification, whatever being asked, if there are the points that need to be clarified, you will give the justification and you will clarify it. Bargaining and problem solving, you will bargain. That's self-explanatory. Then after that, that we learned about the business model, we learned about the human side, we learned about the management and leadership role. Then we talked about those projects. Like in your organization, you will have to implement the various type of the project. That could be a project of bringing the change in your company, introducing new technology, you are expanding, introducing, acquiring another hotel, you are acquiring another airline, you are doing any type of the project, right? So project management concept is the one, the aspect that you need to understand. PMP is a certification which some of the people do in order to perform the project management effectively. So in a project management, there are the various process groups in project. Like when you are starting a project, you need to define that what are the goals of project, why you are doing that. If it is to establish a new hotel, it should be clearly mentioned that to establish a new hotel at blah blah destination, and that would be having this type of the attribute with the 3-star standards or 4-star standards. Specification, task, and responsibility, that would be defining. Then planning is very important in project. Planning is a major part of the project management. That is, project management is all about documentation. So you would be making a schedule plan, budget plan, resource plan, risk plan, quality plan. There are the various type of the plans in the project that you would be preparing, because then those plans would be giving the guidelines to the team to perform the project effectively. Then you will start executing the project. That whatever has been planned, that would be implemented through the team's project team. So during the implementation, it is not like that everything would be going in accordance to the plan. So during the implementation, there might be certain changes. There might be certain the things that have changed by that time. Then the quality, there is a scope like defined at the start of the project that needs to be met. Quality, that is called the quality. And during the implementation, then again there could be the instances where you would be doing the forecast. Then closure, train customer, transfer document, release the closure, project completed. Now you need to close it, sign it off. You need to release the resources. You need to evaluate that whether the desired objective has been achieved or not, and you would be writing the lesson learned, what we have learned from that project. So at the various level of the project, the effort level is different. At the defining level, low effort, the effort level is not really very high. At a planning level, because you are preparing the document, levels are effort level would increase. At executing, this is the now the show time. So this is the time when you would be deploying all the resources, so the efforts level would be high. Effort mean that physical human resource effort, financial resource. financial resources effort. Here, the your financial resources would be draining like anything, because now this is the implementation time, and then the closure, again the effort level would be lower. So if your company would undertake a project, we can apply that the concept in project management. As I told you, five process groups. Here they have defined it: planning, defining, planning, executing, closure. The same is here: initiating, planning, executing, closing. Now this monitoring and control is the fifth process in project management. That is the overall oversight function. During the execution and planning, you will keep a monitoring and controlling system which will tell that the things are being done as per plan, and if there is a change, that has been brought into the plan as well. If like your budget has increased, so now the budget plan has to be revised accordingly. You will have to make a change in the plan as well. So at initiating, define a new project, its vision and overall scope. Planning, we are preparing various type of the plan. As I told you, that the monitoring and controlling is reviews and regulate the progress and performance of the project and identify corrective action or changes if needed. These arrows shows that if there is you would be executing as per planning, and if there is any change during the execution, you will change the planning, your the planning documents as well. Then the closing is you would be closing the project, releasing the resources. The project is being done for someone. It might be an internal department, external department. Then you will hand over the project to them. They will then take it, like they will sign that they have got the desired the results which were expected from that project. Then project management tools and techniques is in project management. Actually, there would be a lot of activities. So you would be creating the work breakdown structure, product breakdown structure, resource histogram, human. So for that, you could be using a software. You could be using the for planning, especially the scheduling, the network diagram that would be telling us that that what are the dependencies of the various project activities with each other. Then you would be making a communication plan, like how you would be like communication. For that, you might be having a MS team like we have for our project. So similar, the organization could have a different forum. The people have made the blogs, etc., and some specialized software to talk. Then documentation is very important in project resource management. Then risk estimation, that you would be using the various type of the techniques like expected value techniques, scenario planning, sensitivity planning. These are the techniques which could be used to manage the risk. And scenario planning is that you would be, while making the plans, you would see that what are the various factors which have the tendency to be changed. So in your business plan, you will change those factor, then you will see the impact on your bottom line of the project, profitability of the project. And if there is any requirement that there is any need to manage that risk, you would arrange that. For instance, insurance, hedging for the fuel, like when you are planning for the fuel for your airline, you could do the hedging to manage the risk. Then reporting and the baseline. Then the skill, the project manager is also like a manager, like any other manager. So he has the requirement of the same type of the skill which any manager, effective manager has. We learned about those negotiation skill and all that. So hard skill, planning, problem solving, budget, fueling, risk management, time management. Soft skill, communication, leadership, that you have already studied in the previous chapter. Empathy means that understanding the other people, behavioral aspect. If somebody is coming to you and telling you their problem, you need to put yourself in their shoes to understand their situation. Adaptability means that adopting the changing environment and the requirements, right? So, okay जी, हमारा पहला